Welcome to Minghui Radio's Falun Dafa podcast, bringing you a window into the lives of Falun Dafa practitioners across China and throughout the world. Stories include first-hand accounts from practitioners who face persecution in China, as well as insights and experiences gained by practitioners during the course of their cultivation.
The following is an experience-sharing article entitled, "You Are the Best Doctor I Have Ever Seen," by a Falun Dafa practitioner in China. The article was published on the Minghui website on February 26, 2024. I have practiced Falun Gong for 28 years. Master Li Hongzhi, the founder of the practice, has improved my body and mind significantly. Once I ran into a friend whom I had known for many years. He was surprised to see how well I was doing and said, "It's been quite a while since we have seen each other, and you still look so young." I could tell that he was truly impressed with Falun Gong. Part 1. You are the best doctor I have ever seen. After the persecution began, I was jailed for my belief, and after I returned home, the local authority treated me as a key surveillance target. There was a group of police officers responsible for monitoring me. They monitored where I worked, how I got to work, and who I interacted with. They considered all of this information as so-called Falun Gong information. As for me, I was not bothered by any of it and just did what I was supposed to do. I went to work on time and was never late. Year after year, full of energy and good health, I never took sick leave. At work, I'm reliable, responsible, and down to earth. A nurse once praised me, "You're so nice and always smiling." One day, a young man brought his girlfriend to the doctor's office, and I happened to be the only one on duty. During the process, he was quiet, but kept his attention on his girlfriend. After the examination, undergoing lab tests, and receiving the report, he said to me, "I've been to many hospitals and met many doctors. You are the best doctor I have ever seen. The way you treat the patient, your attitude, and your medical skills." "Thank you," I replied. "This is what I am supposed to do." His girlfriend asked, "Do you accept red envelopes with money in them?" I told them, "I am a Falun Gong practitioner who follows the principles of truthfulness, compassion, forbearance. I never accept anything of that sort. Here is a Dafa amulet. If you could recite the auspicious phrases written on the amulet, you will be blessed." They both appeared happy to receive the amulet, and even before leaving, they began reciting the phrases, "Falun Dafa is good," and "Truthfulness, compassion, forbearance is good," that were printed on the amulet. Part 2. Policeman. Why is he still so happy after going through so much? One policeman who was monitoring me met another Falun Gong practitioner and asked the practitioner in disbelief, "Why is he," referring to me, "still so happy after going through so many difficulties in his life?" The practitioner explained that the practice of Falun Gong nurtures one's mind through the principles of truthfulness, compassion, forbearance. The practitioner said that this is how one can stay young mentally and physically. The policeman nodded in agreement, and he no longer monitored me after that. My attitude toward the police officers also changed over time. When they first began monitoring me, I was resistant, afraid, and even resentful. With improvement through cultivation and elevation of my Xingxing, my negative feelings disappeared. Instead, I became considerate of the police, developed forgiveness, and felt that I could help save them. I noticed that the attitude of the police towards Falun Gong practitioners has also undergone a change. At first, they were hostile and arrogant. Gradually, they became passive and perplexed. With the continuation of Master's Fa rectification, more and more vicious factors have been eliminated, and the police officers changed their attitude and even began to admire Falun Gong practitioners, particularly those who were solid and determined. When dealing with the persecution, these police officers also became less active. Part 3. Police Station Director. I admire your character. In recent years, the local Domestic Security Bureau launched a large-scale control operation against Falun Gong practitioners. All practitioners who have been imprisoned previously were listed as key figures. I am one of them, but I'm not afraid. Although they are around monitoring me, I consider them as bodyguards. As a DAFA practitioner, I still do whatever I am supposed to without being affected. Once, at a meeting at the police station, the community and domestic security officers gathered together and held a meeting just about me. Originally, many of the people involved in my surveillance did not know what kind of person I was, only that I was a Falun Gong practitioner. When the information gathered about me from various sources was put together by the authorities, many officers were moved. This is what a police station director later told me. He said, "In the past, we only knew that you were a Falun Gong practitioner. Now we know you as a person. We do have differences, but I admire your character." In fact, I just did what I should do as a Falun Gong practitioner, following the principles of the practice and acting on my conscience. In the eyes of the police officers who monitored me, this is how I appeared. I work diligently and have never missed a day. I am on time to work, and sometimes I work late due to a heavy workload. I walk to and from work, and I walk briskly because I'm healthy. Every Saturday, I go to visit my wife who suffers from schizophrenia and is hospitalized in a long-term care facility. I bring food and personal items to her. I behave as an upright, decent man with no bad habits. I dress nicely and neatly and maintain the demeanor of a DAFA practitioner. I know this is so because of Falun Dafa, so I'm very thankful to Falun Dafa and Master Li.
The following is an experience-sharing article entitled "Dafa Changed My Husband's Heart" by a Falun Dafa practitioner in China. The article was published on the Minghui website on February 11, 2024. When I was growing up, my parents fought a lot, and it made me uncomfortable and nervous. My wish when I grew up was to be a person that could influence and affect the people around me in a good way. The Cultural Revolution lasted from elementary to high school. I did not learn anything about China's traditional culture and was instilled with atheism. I did not know why people could not get along, and I had no idea of the karmic reasons behind things. I was timid and worried about the world. I went to babysit for my uncle when I was 20. He and his wife often quarreled. I did not know what to do, and it made me cry. Eventually, they divorced. When it came to marriage, I thought I should find someone worse off than me. If I treated him with respect, kindness, and love, I might have a peaceful marriage. That did not happen. It was the opposite of what I'd hoped for. My kindness and patience were viewed as weakness and vulnerability, and my life after marriage was far from good. I lost confidence in my husband and in life. I was miserable and felt life was not worth living, and I was only in my 30s. Then when I began practicing Falun Dafa, I understood that the purpose of coming to this world is not to pursue a good life, but to return to one's original self and seek the truth of life. I also understood why our lives could be so difficult and miserable. The relationships between people all have karmic reasons behind them, and the causal karmic debts were accumulated over many lifetimes. Falun Dafa made me feel I was reborn, and I became more cheerful. When the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, began persecuting Falun Dafa in July 1999, it put tremendous pressure on my family. Because I refused to give up my faith, my husband and my siblings put me into a psychiatric hospital. My husband was out of control and watched me closely. As soon as he saw me start to do the exercises, he would grab my hair and beat me. Once my husband got drunk and dragged me to the police station, claiming that he wanted to report me for practicing Falun Dafa. When the police saw that he was drunk, they threw us out. I left home to avoid the abuse and worked out of town for many years as a nanny or a caregiver. When I returned to town, I did not go home but stayed with my mother instead. When my husband found out, he called the police and reported me. I was arrested and held in the detention centre. I thought there was no hope for my husband. We were taking care of our daughter's child in 2022 when my husband didn't feel well and went to hospital. He was diagnosed with late-stage pancreatic cancer that was inoperable. After the New Year holiday, he wanted to return home. I decided to tell him the facts about Dafa again. But how? Master said that everyone in the world was once Master's relative. Since he was my husband, I had to try to save him, but no matter how I tried, he refused to listen. He said, "I'm dying and you are still talking about this? I haven't listened to you for over 20 years and will not listen now." Other family members said, "Let him be. He has the worst form of cancer and there is no cure for it. Let him do whatever he wants now." My husband said the pain was unimaginable and unbearable. He was glued to his cell phone and a headache was now added to the pain he was suffering. I asked Master to save him and I began sending righteous thoughts towards him. I suggested he read or watch something to help him alleviate his pain. "Like what?" he asked. I gave him some stories about traditional culture and other things from Minghui to listen to, such as the 9 commentaries on the Communist Party. While listening to it, he exclaimed, "Communists are so bad." He continued to listen to the ultimate purpose of communism and the real story of Jiang Zemin. Gradually, my husband started to look better and had more energy. Then he said, "I want to read your book. You must first declare on Minghui that all the words and deeds you have said and done to attack Dafa or Master are null and void and ask for Master's forgiveness. Only then can you read the book," I said. He asked me to help him write a solemn statement for the Minghui website. Then he began to read Falun Gong and wanted to do the exercises. I studied the Dafa teachings and did the exercises with him every day. He also joined us when other practitioners came to study the teachings or share their experiences. My husband's mind and body underwent tremendous changes. An unreasonable, impatient, violent individual was replaced by a kind, peaceful and rational person full of righteous thoughts. Watching the changes in my husband filled my heart with infinite gratitude to Master. I spent most of my life trying to make my loved one better, but in vain. The principles of Falun Dafa, however, in such a short period of time, changed a person who was unreasonable and impossible into a good person, a better person, and a cultivator right before my very eyes.
The following is an experience-sharing article entitled "Truly Improving During Family Conflicts" by a Falun Dafa practitioner in North America. The article was published on the Minghui website on February 22, 2024. I would like to share my experiences during a recent family conflict. In the article, "Cultivation in Dafa is Serious," Master mentioned resentment, harbouring dissatisfaction and looking at things with human notions. I looked inward and measured myself against the far. I realised I often did not meet Master's requirements. From trivial things in the family to conflicts in a project, I often held resentment towards others. I thought I was kind and helped others. I never started a quarrel. My colleagues and friends all said this. However, my husband, who is a fellow practitioner, and I experienced conflicts for a long time. I thought he was the one who started it. He often corrected me for what I thought were trivial things. For example, I forgot to give the cashier the discount coupon. When I got home, I found a new discount coupon and cheerfully told him, "I found a new discount coupon." He began criticising me, saying that I always lost everything. The more he talked, the more exaggerated his tone became. I was angry and argued with him, saying he had too much Chinese Communist Party, CCP, culture. I said he didn't respect anyone and that his family was the same and liked to exaggerate small things. I felt that I was the one who supported the family financially. In addition to a full-time job, I'm also involved in a project. I was tired. He did not have to work and only had to concentrate on a project. I believed he argued with me about small things because he had too much free time. I was so angry that night I couldn't sleep. The next night, when I booked Shenyun tickets for a client, he asked to pay for the tickets separately from his wife. I thought, is there such a thing as a husband and wife paying for their tickets separately? I placed 2 orders as he asked. He told me a joke. I read a story today about a Christian couple arguing about who would make the coffee in the morning. The husband said he made the money. He had to go to work first thing in the morning, so he did not have time to make coffee. The wife said that the Bible says husbands should care for their wives. The husband said the Bible said nothing about husbands making coffee. I realized that Master was using his mouth to enlighten me. The conflict between my husband and I looked ridiculous in others' eyes. I realized I paid attention to who did more and who did less at home. I always thought I did more and did everything better. I also unconsciously labelled others. For example, I can get along well with some practitioners but find others challenging to deal with. I felt some people were strongly indoctrinated by the CCP. I used this as an excuse to reject their criticism. I realised that I pushed myself to do well because I wanted to live a peaceful life with fewer conflicts. I didn't let go of my notions and attachments during disputes. I did not do anything to broaden my mind unconditionally. I didn't positively understand others. I didn't do things for others without asking for anything in return. Cultivators must do a good job no matter where they are. If we can't handle minor conflicts at home compassionately, how can we handle big tribulations? When a cultivator faces family members and fellow practitioners, they display their cultivation level. They often fail to look inward and see their own shortcomings, which is the root cause of the problem.
Thank you for listening to the Minghui Radio Podcast. For more information, including news about the persecution of Falun Gong practitioners in China and experience sharing stories by practitioners around the world, please visit our website at en.minghui.org.